Thank you for joining me for yet another unboxing video. And today we have some RPG goodness. This is the first edition of Pathfinder role-playing game, the beginner box. Adventure awaits. Take your first step into an exciting world of fantasy adventure with the Pathfinder role-playing game beginner box. Within, you'll find simple rules for creating and customizing your own hero, as well as a robust system for running your character through challenging adventures and deadly battles against villainous monsters like goblins and dragons. Will you master weapons and magic to become a courageous fighter, or a wise cleric, a witty rogue, or a brilliant wizard? All the details of your character are yours to control. The only limit is your imagination. The Pathfinder role-playing game beginner box is packed with everything you need to get started with the Pathfinder role-playing game. An imaginative tabletop fantasy adventure game for 2 to 5 players. Tons of monsters, challenges, and advice give gamers the tools to create their own worlds and adventures, providing countless hours of gaming excitement. With streamlined rules and a focus on action-packed heroic adventure, this deluxe box set is the ideal introduction to the world of Pathfinder role-playing game, and the best starting point for a lifetime of pulse-pounding adventure. It tells you what's included inside the box, including a new book. Of course, this is brought to you by our great friends over at Pazio. For more information about this or the second edition rules, you can go to pazio.com/beginnerbox. Again, this is the first edition, not the second. This was released originally in 2011, then reissued again in 2013. With the reissue, it came with the new book. So let's crack this bad boy open and see what kind of goodness we have on the inside. So right off the bat, you have, before you go any further, read this page, as it will help guide you through the contents of this box. If you are on your own, it tells you where to start. Every group needs a game master, but if you want to be a hero and start playing now. If you want to be a hero but want to make up your own character, do this. Every group needs a game master. Welcome to the Pathfinder role-playing game. You get that sheet. Gives you a little background information about how to use the things in the box. You've got all of your polyhedral dice. You have your percentage dice, you have your D10 die, your 20-sided dice, your 12-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 8-sided dice. That comes in the box. You also get some standees in the box, and these are the bases that are for the standees. You are also provided with they're selling their Pathfinder Society. They also have a Starfinder Society. So explore, report, cooperate. One campaign, thousands of players worldwide, infinite possibilities. Join the Pathfinder Society today. Again, go to pazio.com/Pathfinder Society, and you get all kinds of stuff there for a fee. Okay, so put that over there as well. Also in the box, you also get your character sheets, which are blank. Character sheets are required to play the game because this way you would create your own characters, and these are all the different stats that they need to have, running from your character's name, to their alignment, to their gender, to their race, to their class, to experience levels, class features, their saves, fortitude, reflex, will, attack bonuses, skill ranks, dexterity, strength, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and modifiers. It tells you the different types of dice that you have there. Okay. Spell on friends, spell on enemies, standard magic, then all the type of skills that you can have, armor, weapon proficiencies, equipment, feats, armor, and armor classes, and your spells. Flip that over. Go a little bit further into this. You got your equipment, your character portrait, character history, prepared spells, monsters killed, wizard spell book, most damage dealt, notes, spells on friends, spells on enemies, and standard magic. So this is an empty character sheet, and you get a bunch of those. And you get even a couple more. Put those in there like that. Then you have your pre-made characters. You have a wizard. So again, tells you if you like it. So again, this is an introductory box. So if you don't know what a wizard does, well, he blasts enemies with fire, throws weapons with telekinesis, knowing secrets about magic, knowing secrets about ancient lore, using magic scrolls. And it tells you a little background information about them. And then, of course, it has that sheet which I just showed you all filled out for them. And gives a little back history. Same thing if you want to be a fighter, if you want to be a rogue, or you want to be a cleric. So we got a bunch of stuff in here. All right, so what else do we have in here? We also have some standees come in a box. As I've always said, Pazio makes the best standees, in my opinion. I have lots and lots of standees that I've done unboxings for regarding Starfinder. This is my first Pathfinder one. I did some Pathfinder maps before, but not necessarily any of the actual role-playing game materials. So again, this is the first edition. They do have a second edition out, probably rolling on to a third eventually. But again, I never played Pathfinder before, so I figured I saw this on this for a real cut rate price. I wanted the standees that were inside it, so I said, you know what, let me pick it up. I think I paid 20 bucks for this box, so it was well worth it for all the information that's inside. Now again, the rules have been updated. So if I want to pick up the new rule book, I can do that, but I still have now I have some standees in which I can start playing right away with, which is always fun as well. And these standees can also be used for, and the front and backs are identical. So here's some more standees that you get. So front and backs are the same. So there you have it. So you get 1, 2, 3 sheets of standees. And you have a couple of books in here. Now, first book you have in here is the role-playing, again, Pathfinder RPG or role-playing game. You have the Game Master's Guide, which will tell you how to run a game. Here's your initial adventure that you can take people on. So it gives you the way to understand the basic concepts of the game. Again, this is just an overview of the game. This is not the complete game. You'd have to go out and buy the tome. The tome has probably about 300 to 400 pages in it. As you can tell here, this book only has about 100 in it, but gives you the basic understanding about the role of a game master. So if we take a look at the table of contents real quick, you've got Adventure Black Fang's Dungeon, Game Mastering, Building an Adventure, Environment, Magic Items, Monsters, Random Encounters, Standpoint, Game Master's Reference, Conditions, Index, Where to Go from Here. And all the great people who brought you the game. Of course, it's brought to you by our good friends at Pazio. Again, it's an introduction module right there, so you can walk people through it in a very simple way. So you get a general idea of how to play the games. Then it's an introduction. Again, the artwork is just brilliant. You talk about different things in here, what environment, dungeons, wilderness, swamp, mountains, desert, and the city, types of dungeons, ruined structures, occupied structures, safe storage, caverns, terrain, all different kinds of stuff that you can come up to, different objects. Again, it goes on and on about different things. Magic items, scrolls, staves, wands, different items you could come across, monsters, stats of monsters, how to read monsters to stat lines. You got orcs, you got air elementals, you got animated statues, Barghest, black dragons, boars, boar guards, city guards, dire rats. You have a doppelganger, earth elementals, evil clerics, evil fighters, ghost, ghoul, giant centipede, giant spider, goblins, goblin boss. You have your gray ooze, your green hags, a hellhound, a manticore, a medusa, a mimic, a mummy, an ogre, an orc boss, a reef claw, a salamander, a serpent folk, skeletal champions, skeleton, troglodyte, venomous snake, water elemental, werewolf, will-o-wisp, wolf, zombie, and then random encounters that you can come into. You roll your percentage, and you can get them here. It tells you what you're going to get. So it tells you here, if you roll on your percentage die, which would be your D10, percentage die, which is your D10 here, and here, you roll the two numbers together, so it'll be 60. So if you roll the dice, you get a 64. If you looked up 64, what is your random encounter? 64 would be right here. You'd run into a hellhound. It's worth 800 experience points, and it's basically a level 3 character. Desert monsters, city monsters, mountain, swamp, sand point. Again, beautifully illustrated. Additional quests, different conditions, rules, things that can happen to your character, common map symbols on the different maps. So there you have it. That would be your Game Master's Guide. And you also have the Hero's Handbook. So when you're creating your characters, you need to know what the Hero's Handbook's all about. So this is telling you how to make and create your own character. So choosing your race, choosing your class, thinking about ability scores, roll your 6 ability scores, figure out your ability modifiers, choose an alignment. And all this other stuff you have to do here is choose a character name, write your racial traits, write your class features, either pick the suggested skills, either pick the suggested feats, either pick the suggested equipment, do the finishing touches. If you are a cleric or wizard, pick which spells you prepare. So in this book here, the Hero's Handbook, you can look at the table of contents, Skeleton King's Crypt, example of play, getting started, creating a character, races, cleric, fighter, rogue, wizard, finishing your character, skills, feats, equipment, playing the game, leveling up, and index. There's your authors and all the good people brought you. Again, brought to you by Pazio. Again, the adventure you're going on, different information here about it. Talks about the different races. You want to create your character. Different races. You want to be a cleric, rules for them. Spells that you have to cast as the levels go up. Your fighter. You want to be a rogue. Wizard. Again, different spells you can have. Finishing off your characters, choosing what skills you want to have. Each different class has a different types of skills that they'll have. Perceptions, different feats that you can get. Again, the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. Different equipment that your characters can possess and purchase as the adventure goes on. You want to give them the basics for the first adventure. Then playing the game, exploration, encountering things, making checks, your skill checks, your ability checks, your overland movement, combat, whether you're in the wilderness, could be in a dungeon or a city, different environments you could be in, map squares, each is worth 5. Each square is worth 5 feet. Initiative, surprise, taking turns, free actions, move actions, ranged attacks, combat, armor classes, critical threats, critical hits, damage, concealment, automatic success and failures. You roll a 1, it's a failure. Roll a 20, it's a critical. Roll a none, injuries and death. Casting spells, saving throws. Reading a spell description, burning hands, leveling up. And glossary of common terms. And that's everything that you would find. And back is a quick reference sheet for you. And that's everything that will be found in the Hero's Handbook. So you have your Game Master Guide, you have your Hero's Handbook in here. You also get your Transition Guide. Your Transition Guide shows you a little bit of the other Pathfinder products that are available to you, and there's a lot more of this. Transition Guide, taking the next step, new rules to know, reading a core rulebook, reading a bestiary monster stat block, 6th level and beyond, converting adventurers. Taking the next step, new rules to know, base attack bonus. Again, this was at the beginning, so this is 1st edition, not 2nd edition. So multi-classing, concentration, languages, reading a core rulebook spell stat block, reading a bestiary monster stat block, 6th level and beyond, cleric, fighter, rogue, wizard, converting adventurers. And all the different modules and adventure paths that they have for Pathfinder. And there you go in the back. What is Pathfinder Society? What is a Galadrin? What is in it for me? How do I get involved? And this is all the good stuff. Again, absolutely stunning, beautiful artwork on each of the books here. So you got your transition guide, Hero's Handbook, Game Master's Guide. So you start off with these two books here, and when you move on to their new rule book, this is what the transition guide is for. Now, once you create characters for Pathfinder, I've never done it personally, but you can also bring these characters into Starfinder as well. But if you like fantasy, again, this is a fantasy role-playing game, not a science fiction game. But if you want to change it over, and if you want to bring your Starfinder characters into Pathfinder, you can do that as well. I kind of like to keep things separate, like to keep science fiction with science fiction and fantasy with fantasy, but some people like to change it up, so that's okay as well. And last but not least, inside the box, you also would get your first map. And map, as you know, whenever you get a brand new map, you gotta crack it so it lays out nicely. So like I always say, you gotta crack it first. I'm gonna do that off camera for a minute. So you have a little map here. It's actually a big map. Take a look at that very quickly. It's a beautifully illustrated map of a dungeon. Rolling around to this side. Take a look up here on the middle. And one final turn. So that is your whole map right there. And on this side here, it's a blank, basically looks like a blank player's map. So it's a two-sided map. Again, wet, dry, erase. You mark it with a wet, dry marker on it. It comes right off with using just a wet cloth. It comes right off. So real quick, this would also be found in your first adventure. So you can use this map. See, it's right here. This is right here. It's exactly the same thing. So I pull this up here real quick. There's the gold emblem right there. Gold emblem right there. You'd set the map up. So let's see how this is set up. So it'd be this way. Right. So over here, as you could tell, right here would be your starting point. So if I put this down here real quick, you would see that's the starting point for your first adventure when you're using the Game Master's Guide. And your first introductory adventure would take place on this map. And you'd find that right in your first couple pages here of the book, as I said to you before. Yeah, so it's like in the first one here, it's the Goblin Ambush, and it'll show you. Okay, so there it is right there. So, included in your box, included in this unboxing, you have your Game Master's Guide, you have your Transition Guide, you have your Hero's Handbook, you have your bases, you have your standees, you have your character sheets, you have your dice, you have your pre-made generated characters, you have your before you start letter right there, and on top there you also have information about the Pathfinder Society. And of course, you got this giant map that came along with everything else you have here. So this is everything that's included. This concludes our unboxing of Pathfinder role-playing game beginner box. Again, this is the first edition box brought to you by the great people over at Pazio. As always, thank you so much for joining me for this unboxing video. It's truly appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, you could always give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below. You could also hit that subscribe button. This way you're kept up to date with any time we release any new content to the page. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, be well, enjoy the remainder of your day, and we'll catch you on the next unboxing video.